interaction that I have with people now, in some way or another, these things come up. Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want, fine, funny, and money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talk on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't kid because women this and men this. You're moving forward with this person.
No, you know my.
Wow. Hey guys, and welcome to Dark Arts Podcast. Listen, this is where we help you guys navigate the dating field by exposing the game and also exposing the manipulation. Today, we're talking about Joy Taylor. Yeah, if you've seen her on the news already, or you've seen her around social media, you've heard about the Skip Bayless lawsuit, which she got then lumped into because she had been sleeping potentially around with different people in the business in order to get up the ladder. So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about manipulation, right? Using the sexual wiles. But I'm going to also use a framework by Robert Greene called The Art of Seduction, the Siren. Because when I heard Joy Taylor's story, that's what my mind went to immediately. I said, she's using sex, sexual wiles, and that energy to be able to maneuver men into position. It's not new. Women have been doing this for years, decades, centuries, thousands of years. Why? Because we live in a world where men use aggression in order to attain. And so women, not being as physically strong, must find their place in the world and accrue power in a completely different way. And they use passive-aggressive means. In fact, even competition between women to attain men's resources is through passive-aggressive means. And so sex is one of those ways to attain a man's wealth, resources, time, protection, promotion, energy, whatever you call it. That is their way of getting a man to fall in line to be able to do what they want him to do. And so we're going to break it down with Joy Taylor. And again, using Robert Greene's framework of the Siren. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe to this channel. We're here always to break things down. Let's just go to a Robert Greene introduction, because he obviously talks about this in his book. If you've never listened to it, you need to listen to it. But I'm going to just pay attention to this, what he says here. Okay.
A mythic quality about her, but do not imagine she is a thing of the past or of legend and history. She represents a powerful male fantasy of a highly sexual, supremely confident, alluring female offering endless pleasure and a bit of danger. In today's world, this fantasy can only appeal the more strongly to the male psyche. For now more than ever, he lives in a world that circumscribes his aggressive instincts by making everything safe and secure, a world that offers less chance for adventure and risk than ever before. In the past, a man had some outlets for these drives: warfare, the high seas, political intrigue. In the sexual realm, courtesans and mistresses were practically a social institution and offered him the variety and the chase that he craved. Without any outlets, his drives turn inward and gnaw at him, becoming all the more volatile for being repressed.
So if you didn't hear it, let me break it down really quickly what happened here. All right. Men in this particular time and season, all right, as they were saying, biologically, we don't have as many outputs to be able to kind of release this aggressive nature that we have, the need to chase, the need to go after, right? We don't have war anymore. We don't have the political highs as we used to do. Okay, great. But we're talking about the Siren. We're talking about what Joy Taylor was doing to these men. That explains why the men were attracted to someone like her. We have to understand that Joy Taylor is living in a world and living in a male-dominated world. And in that space, there's a way that you are having to navigate as a woman. And one of those ways is that you have to learn how to handle male egos. Now, sleeping with somebody probably isn't necessarily handling their ego, but it is a way to entrap somebody. Yes, you can entrap a man in that space, because in this modern times, the accountability of men within the workspace of corporate is the law. And rightly so. There shouldn't be a case of men being able to do whatever they want. There should be a higher order that holds them accountable. In fact, it's even biblical. In the Bible, we see this where the Bible says that it's God, man, his wife. In meaning that a woman will respond to a man's leadership, but a man's leadership must be in response to the Lord's leadership. That means that there is a chain of command. And so in this space, when we talk about Joy Taylor and her functioning within the corporate space, what we saw Joy Taylor, what came out about her was that she'd been sleeping with Dixon, who ran the Fox News, Fox Sports, and also sleeping with another colleague, Emmanuel Acho, who then also put her on a show as well, as much as Dixon also was fighting for her. Now, Why am I saying this is manipulation? Well, the term manipulation is really a set of actions that are designed to influence and be able to maneuver somebody into a desired action, right? So it can be a case of someone even, having influence or control. She did this by having sex with these men. Once the men had sex with her, she now had control over them because what she had was what we call a trump card in her back pocket. As she was telling us, or at least in the lawsuit, the woman alleged who was exposing her was alleging that the fact that she had a trump card, which was that she would say that she was R-word or coerced in the workplace because there was a power dynamic between a man and a woman in the workplace. And so she had a trump card. She could use it whenever she wanted. But she didn't have to go there just yet. Because you see, men tend to, not all, men tend to treat women according to their level of interest in that woman. And so a lot of times what you'll find is, especially in the workplace, is that the fact that they have access to her, maybe she smiles, maybe she cooks for them, maybe she cleans for them, maybe she makes them feel excited, maybe she plays on their ego. But in this case, the manipulation is that she slept with these men, both Emmanuel and Dixon. And by sleeping with them, she compromised them. And when she compromised them, it made them vulnerable now to her affections, but also vulnerable to her desires. She can now say to the man, hey, I would like X, Y, and Z, and he would do it. In fact, this is biblical. If you look at the story of John the Baptist and King Herod at the time was dating a young woman, and she was probably fine and beautiful, and she was a dancer. Okay, she danced beautifully, probably showed some tummy, and got him a little bit aroused and excited. And then she asks for the head of John the Baptist due to her mother wanting to talk again, due to her mother being annoyed about John the Baptist exposing the immoral behavior by King Herod and him sleeping with the woman that he was at the time. And so her daughter then asks for the head of John the Baptist from King Herod. What did that show you? Again, once more, it goes back to the fact that using sexual feminine wiles in the space to manipulate a man to make a decision. Now, this is not a case of just being nefarious. This is a case of what men and women do. We want to be seduced. Men don't just want to give their money to women. They want to be seduced into giving their money to women. Just like women want to be seduced into sex. And don't want to just be told, quite frankly, I just want to have sex with you. It's quite crude, and quite frankly, it shows a lack of respect and value for that woman. So the seduction is a part of that value. If I seduce you, you are valuable enough for me to want to create a rouse, or ruse, I should say, rather, and create a play and an image and a drama in order to get you to a place where you are going to give up the resources, the time, the energy, whatever. And so Joy Taylor in this space does something really interesting. She sleeps with Dixon and sleeps with Emmanuel Ocho, and they both fight to back her. They both fight to uplift her. They both fight to make sure that she is in position as she needs to be. And it got to a place where, as again, we said in that lawsuit, where it was said that because she also understood that Dixon, the man who was in question, who's the boss of Fox Sports, the boss in this situation, had a habit of discarding women who didn't do what he wanted them to do, that allowed him to have a level of power. And so she said to herself, but I can't be one of those women that are going to have myself be disempowered since I've now accrued power. I must find a way in order to secure myself. How does she secure herself? Well, she secures herself by utilizing the law in this instance and saying, if you are, almost in a sense, if you are going to get rid of me, just know I will claim that you coerced me and that you R-word me. Now, you may not like it, but that's the game. You may not like it, but as she's playing in a den of vipers and a brood of snakes, she has to be snakish. The Bible says, be gentle as a dove, but be as crafty as a snake. And that's what she's in a sense doing. Do I agree with her trump card? No. I wouldn't want any man to be accused falsely of that situation. But I wouldn't want anybody to lose their livelihood because a man decided that he felt like he should have access to a woman and didn't have the access that he wanted, or she told him no and decided that he will get rid of her. And that's why it's a den of vipers and a brood of vipers in this instance. And that playing this game is a very dangerous one. She utilized her body, knew that a man would fall prey to this, and ended up utilizing it against him. In fact, I think of one more Bible story before we go. This is Jael in the Bible. Yeah, it's Jael in the Bible. If you read Judges before, go and read it. Judges in the Bible, a woman called Jael is able to access the enemy's camp simply because he was excited about her coming in to sleep with her. And whilst he slept, she dug a nail in his head. In fact, I have another story in Judges. Samson is another man, strong, vibrant, energetic, a man of God, finds Delilah in the Valley of Sorok. And in the Valley of Sorok, some men access Samson through Delilah. And Delilah caves into their demands and ends up getting the secret of Samson and cutting his hair and then allowing him to be captured. What does that say? Well, first of all, men should be accountable. It's not every woman that you should be around. Number two, you sleep with women, you have to be aware that this could be a ploy and a tool of the enemy. Just saying. And I've been there and I've slept with some women, so I'm just going to be real. Number three, it's also to understand that women use this manipulation technique of sex to lure men in for their resources and for their protection. Because they don't live in the space that men do when it comes to aggression. They can't. They can't compete in that way. They must find their way, which is what makes this game so interesting. And so in this instance, Joy Taylor has used her sexual wiles in order to place herself in an irreplaceable position. Dixon can't fire her now because she could easily use a trump card. And Emmanuel Acho can't complain against her because she could use a trump card. And that's the game. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, how you play a corporate game in a sexual way that will help you win in that situation. Now, you may not win the moral vote, but in this situation, she's covered. It is what it is. Learn from this as a man. Make sure you don't put yourself in that position where you're exposed. Like, share, subscribe. Clicking that bell button for notifications of the uploads. If you want to know more about this, please comment down below. Appreciate you guys.